very good evening to all of you. It gives me great pleasure to welcome you all to the technical webinar series, PIE Connoisseur, which is being organized by the Department of Production and Industrial Engineering, BIT Mesra, in collaboration with Institute Innovation Council, BIT Mesra. Today we are hosting the fourth event of this technical webinar series. It is my honor to introduce you to the expert speaker of today's event. Today we have with us Sri Alok Kumar, Lead Mechanical Engineer, Rotating Project, DAS and Jarku Division, Abu Dhabi, UAE, who will deliver a talk on case studies on project management, challenges, risks, and opportunities in project implementation. Sri Alok Kumar obtained his BE in Mechanical Engineering with distinction from Magadh University in the year 2000 and his ME in Quality Engineering and Management with distinction from BIT Mesra in the year of 2005. In 2016, he received Project Management Professional Qualification from the Project Management Institute in the United States, approved by American National Standards Institute. He worked as a GET at Jamnagar Refinery of Reliance Industries Limited and as a manager mechanical in FCC unit of Jamnagar during 2005 to 2007. During 2007 to 2009, he worked as a senior engineer with Technip KT India Limited in Noida, where he was responsible for detail engineering and project execution on EPC projects for clients such as IOCL, BPCL, MRPL, ESSER, and others. Later, he worked as a principal engineer in Technip France, region Middle East, head office in Abu Dhabi, UAE, and worked on various EPC and FEED projects of oil and gas companies in the UAE, Qatar, and Saudi Arabia, handling responsibilities for detail engineering, procurement, and project execution from 2010 to 2018. He is currently employed as the lead engineer at ADNOC Offshore IPMT, where he is in charge of detail engineering, procurement and delivery, and project execution. Now, I would like to invite Sri Alok Kumar to enlighten the audience by sharing his knowledge and experience on project management, challenges, risk, and opportunities in project implementation.
Thank you. I'm audible clearly?
Yes, sir, you are audible.
First of all, thanks to you to giving this such a high-profile introduction. Actually, I'm not an expert, to be very honest. I'm just a student of a project management discipline, I can say, with all this experience and all that. I would like to say that my initial years of experience is in engineering, detail engineering, and then moving into project engineering, procurement, and all that. So I would like to just give some thoughts or some means we can say that I can share some topics which is very easy to understand for everyone, and it can build a basics basically to how we should approach to a project management, because you know that whatever we do is a project which is having a unique result, unique product. Even when we are getting ready in our hostel to reach to the class is also a product project. So we can go to next. So before actually we go into the presentation, I would like to present some thoughts on the safety moment, because actually as per our corporate practice, before any presentation or a meeting we address this. In this we try to look around the present scenario and other things, and how we can, improve the safe behavior. We all know the present scenario, the situations of the last around 18 months or 2 years, when all the humankind was actually surfing on an uncharted territory, but with the full endeavor of our scientific community and all that. Now we can say that now, yes, we are not on an uncharted territory regarding this COVID. Still, we can uh, contribute as an individual to the society by following this COVID appropriate behavior, and it is should be followed across the world, in our country, everywhere. And as an individual, also we can educate the people for uh, taking up the vaccines, because everyone knows that in India, especially, it is coming that means many people are not willing to take vaccines due to many confusions or ill-informed informations. So, as an individual, if we can at least educate one people to get a vaccine of both those, it will be a great service to the society. Is okay. Can we move to the next, or someone would like to add some more points here?
You can proceed.
Okay, thank you. See, actually, when we talk about project management and other things, execution and all that, so first we need to understand a project. What is a project? Which is this is a very basic definition, but it's still very pertinent, that it is a temporary exercise or endeavor with something definite in the mind, in the beginning and the end, and the project will be driven by the three main triangle, and the sides will be scope, cost, and schedule. These are the three things. And one project definitely should have a unique goal, like unique goal or objectives, which can be in the form of a product, a service, the result, or a combination of anything. So we can say that the scope, schedule, and cost are the key ingredients of a project. What project can do is that it will add value to the business organization, create values, and other things. Also, it is very important to know that or understand that it can be, any project can be taken, means a single by a single person, individual, or a group. It is just a basic means a description of a project, which is very easy to read and understand. What actually project brings, and why an organization uh, uh, thinks or means initiate a project. As we can see that it brings a change in organizations and enable the business values. And what are the factors which can initiate a project? That will be a new technology, means going for a new technology, some competitive forces, like material issue, like maybe some bridge is there and it has been collapsed due to some material, wrong selection of the materials, and then we need to uh, correct that. So that is have a project, because it is a unique thing, activities, combination of activities, and with a unique goal. Then if the market demand, then the business needs and the business improvement. So these things, environmental conditions or the stakeholder demands, the stakeholder uh, requests. So these things actually work as an initiator or a trigger. We can say trigger for a starting or conceptualizing a project. So actually, if you see, any project will have four or five basic things. Like one will be the first stage will be the assess. Second will be the concept, where assess means where you will decide, think on all the business ideas. You will do the techno-commercial analysis, business value analysis, and you think that yes, this ideas can be proceeded. Maybe uh, 10 ideas was there. So based on all the studies, market research, feedbacks, it is decided that three ideas can be taken forward. So the three ideas will be in the means conceptual selection. So there, out of three, you will work out on all the three ideas which are beneficial, techno-commercially benefited, is adding value, and many things actually comes into the when we talk about oil and gas. Because my experience is in oil and gas, so I can see from oil and gas perspective, but still the project remains the same wherever you go. Software, IT, steel industry, construction, everywhere it will. The processes will be the same. So in the concept selection, you select out of three which is the best selection, which is the best idea. Then the next phase comes as a design, which is generally called like front end engineering and development. So in that, the selected idea is detailed. Every means in way of that the scope will be defined very elaborately. Then what are the requirements, project schedules, everything is defined there. That's why that phase is called define phase. And then the next phase comes as a execute phase, when you really means execute the project. Now comes the thing that what is project management. So project management is actually uh, because it is being done from many years, ancient years, like maybe Taj Mahal was built, so there was some project management there. So whatever monuments or anything has been done, there is a project management. But now actually in the recent years, this NC, American National Standard Institute, and the PMI Project Management Institute has developed actually one framework which is the most acceptable frameworks for execution of project initiation, planning, defining, and execution. They have certain guidelines, and which is actually most respectable and acceptable criterias for the management of the projects. So we can say that the project management covers initiating, planning, executing, monitoring and control, and then the closeouts. So everything is there, and this, irrespective of any discipline or means sector, these things will be there. These are the basics. As we say that the process should, shall be such that it can be applicable to everything. Uh, so this PMI actually defines these processes, and which is relevant to all the sectors of uh, the organizations. Then we can say that, see, if as we see that a project is to objective is to a unique product or service. So what are the things involved in any project which you need to manage to get the required objective, or the desired or the defined objective? We can say that required and defined, not the desired, because desire is not the proper word in this uh, topic which we are discussing. Everything has to be defined. So what are the things that, like scope, schedule? Schedule means time, how many duration you have to finish that task. What is the cost? What is the quality? Resource means the man, material, and the machines. Then communication is a very important role. Then the risk, the procurement, and the stakeholders. So these are the various actually facets of a project which you need to manage to achieve the defined objective of the project. Like, and you will understand that this scope, schedule, and cost, quality, these are actually what you can say that if you try to manage the quality, your cost will go high. If you reduce the cost, your quality will definitely will be poor. If you not meet the scope in the proper schedule, then there will be a scope creep, means that the scope is increasing if it is not properly defined in the initiation and the planning phase. So, so there is a means you need to balance everything so that your project is completed in a fixed uh, within the fixed cost and schedule. It is very easy to say than done. However, the planning stage or planning phase of a project is very important, because if your plan is proper, if everything has been involved, you've given proper attention to the project during the planning phase, then your execution will be better. We go to the next slide. Yeah, this is actually which we were talking, that it is a life cycle. Any project, any means any industry you go, whether it is a software, steel industry, construction, defense, wherever. So this will be the life cycle. Concept, planning, execution, and termination. Termination means this termination can be means defined or called in different ways, like in construction or oil and gas or steel. You can say that hand over to the end user, like this. Yeah. Now, actually, the what are the challenges? So here, as we were discussing, that if the goals and the criteria, success criteria, are not defined properly, that can be a challenge, because it can lead to a scope creep. You can means you can be doing the same things again and again. There will be some rejections from the client. You will not get the proper product from the vendor, because your things are not, your specifications is not defined properly. Then you have, for example, lack of accountability. As we saw in earlier slide, that is stakeholders. See, everyone is a stakeholder in a project. The engineer, the contractor, the vendor, the manager, everyone is a stakeholder in a project. So there must be a accountability. However, if there is less or lack of accountability, then it can lead to some challenges which you need to address as a project manager. A scope creep we already discussed, means talked lack of communication. If lack of communication is there, or we can say that a proper communication network or proper communication channel is not there, then you will have some problem, and definitely you will have some problem. For example, if, like if I give an example, that some vendor asks you some query, or vendor means or supplier asks you some query about the centrifugal pump, and it is lying uh, on your inbox for maybe 2 days or 3 days. You have not responded or not taken any action, and maybe after some time you have it is a weekend, and after that you are going on leave. So after 2 weeks you are coming, so it is a big problem, big gap, because your vendor is waiting for some information, and after that he will start the manufacturing. So everything is linked. So he will not start the manufacturing once the design is not approved. So, so there must be a proper communication. Like maybe if I am addressed, so there must be one backup for me if I am not there, or that is a backup. This is the case when if maybe if I am going on leave, but there must be accountability, as we discussed here. Lack of accountability, person must be accountable. See, whatever principles, whatever processes you have in uh, any management thing, if there is a lack of responsibility, lack of accountability, then it is difficult to manage anything. Then the budgeting issues are there. Again, these comes all when your scope is not properly defined. Scope means, I can give you an example that maybe Uh, Maybe it is a, let us say, a centrifugal compressor. So uh, the gas composition should be given to the vendor. So then our what is our required head, what is our required flow, means flow, our turn down ratio, the material or with the gas composition we are giving him the various gas mixtures composition on the basis of which he can decide the material. So these informations has to be properly given to the vendor, then he can decide uh, the offer, the quote properly. If it is not communicated properly, he will not be able to uh, give you a quote which is meeting the specification. So we need to very clearly define the requirements in the initial phase. Again, this inadequate skills of team members, this can be a challenge that can be always means improved by teamwork, uh, encouragement, team building. So these things we can manage. Then the most important thing is the inadequate risk management. See, everything, whatever we are doing is a risk. So now we are giving a presentation. There is a risk that power outage can happen. So so there will be some risk which you need to accept, but there will be some risk where we need to mitigate them or transfer them to the next phase. So this thing. So risk management is a very important aspect of any project execution. We will discuss in detail in the next slides. Then one challenge is the unrealistic deadlines. These things actually can be addressed by proper planning. And one is the limited engagement of stakeholders. This is actually very challenging because you know that stakeholder can be your internal and external. So internal stakeholders like your if you are in a EPC project, so your contractor or vendor, you can say that it is a somehow it is a those are external, those are external stakeholders, but those you can manage. Internal stakeholders like for an engineering company, the different disciplines like procurement, construction, I mean within the company, engineering or electrical discipline, instrument discipline. These are the internal stakeholders. These are means easy to manage. The stakeholders which are outside means external stakeholders, contractor, vendors, third-party agencies that can also be managed, or at least you can approach them. But those external stakeholders which are not very much active, like maybe you are working for a project of Indian Oil, and Indian Oil has given a contract to uh, Technic. So what Indian Oil is not contributing or not participating in some meetings, you are trying to approach them for some directions, but they are very reluctant, not approach, not giving any, means no response. So those type of behavior of a stakeholder is dangerous because maybe based on you approach them many times, but they have not responded, and then after some time, because you cannot wait as a, you have to deliver the project because ultimately the client will ask you, the same client will come back to you in the meeting and ask them why you have delayed. So as a contractor, you have to means proceed, but maybe it can happen. But after some time, you can come back and say that, oh, no, this is not my requirement. Those are actually very, you will end up in a difficult situation. So those type of stakeholders need to be means, properly managed from the beginning. You need to develop a personal relationship and some rapport with them. Actually, this I'm telling you based on the experiences all I have. Uh, we will go to the next. Yes, here actually that as I earlier told that control and monitoring is the key component of the any project management. Means control means what is control project in a project management perspective. So control is everything. Means you need to control the scope, you need to control the schedule, cost control, quality control, everything. Because this can only lead you to proper execution, proper monitoring, proper if there is any corrective actions or revalidation of your actions is needed, then you can do it. This actually I have taken from our company WAP, which is Value Assurance Studios. This is the mainly the 6 functions are there for a project control team. First is the planning and scheduling, then the cost control, then the risk management, then the management of change, then the contract administration, and then the reporting. So if you see the planning and scheduling, this is the first means in the beginning of the project. This WBS development, I think everybody will be knowing that this WBS, the work breakdown structure, based on the activities and the work. This is every work is actually means to break down into small activities so that you can have a better control on the progress measurement of those activities and in turn the project. Also, it is to be noted that this WBS, I mean, the work should not be broken into such a small activities so that it can have a problem in monitoring. So there must be a means proper balance in when you are breaking these activities, the work. So in the scheduling terms, these are called, there are generally 4 or 3 levels. Level L0 is called the first, which is the broad project wise breakdown. Then there is a L1 level, which is if I say, if I give you an example of a, let us take BIT Mesra for some project. So L0 schedule will be of overall BIT Mesra. Then the L1 schedule will be for maybe for the, yes, for the different disciplines. Then there is L2. So like if in a mechanical discipline or maybe I don't know, in Department of Mechanical there are other disciplines also. So maybe if there is another discipline, then, or we can say that discipline wise it is a L1. Then L2 is the subject wise. Then L3 means we are breaking down. So what is happening, that if the administration or the management wants to monitor the progress of a project such as or an activity, they can monitor. That if they want to go into more details, they can ask you the L3 schedule. If they want to broad a little up, so then they will ask for L2. So these are actually the breakdowns, and which helps to uh, scheduling the activities and in turn monitoring and execution. Then there is a cost control. Cost control is that every project has a defined cost, contractual cost when you award the contract. So there is a cost budget, and you need to control that. Now, third and the most important is the risk management. Then in the fourth is the management of change. So what is the management of change? Is actually maybe during the course of a project some change is needed, or some maybe you have defined some requirement in the specification, but that is not available in the market. So that will ask a change from the vendor. So those things is there. Then there is a process. If there is a need of a change or a change is identified, then that need to be assessed properly. So there is a proper assessment process, because if you need to assess that if there is a positive impact or a negative impact, so then you have to take a decision actually. Contract is a very important thing, because actually contract is a means is an agreement actually, which can be used as a legal. You can say that is the legal agreement between a supplier and a buyer, or a service provider and a supplier, where the terms and conditions of the particular order is properly defined, and that is actually binding to both of them, both parties, in the supplier and the buyer. Then reporting, this is actually for all the reporting you need to have, like information distribution, management of stakeholders, because you need to support, means provide the reports to the your stakeholders. So these are the basic functions of a control team. Now, as we discussed here, that risk management, what it does, it provides support and facilitate the risk assessment, risk treatment, planning, forecasting, monitoring and control, risk register. So we would like to have some, I understand that everyone will be having some idea of this. So it is actually uncertainty. Basically, it is uncertainty that something can happen, and whether it has a positive impact or a negative impact on a project objective. And it will be an integral part of any project management, and there must be an owner, which is a project manager, to manage all the risks. As we know that what can be the this root or a root cause of any uncertainties, like stakeholders, as we talked, internal, external, objectives if it is not properly defined, project organizations if there is some discrepancy in the project organization, this scope of work. So anything can come, can be a cause of generating uncertainty, and in turn the risk. See here, risk actually, we need to understand that the risks which are having a negative impact are real risk, or we can say those risks as a threats, and there will be some risk or uncertainty which, if properly explored, can be having resulting in some positive effects on the project. So those things are called opportunities. So threats and opportunities are the two terminologies actually. See, mainly these uncertainties are related to or associated with these things: who, why, what, and then how, and then wherewithal, when. Who are the parties ultimately involved? So these things can create or can lead to some uncertainty. Or why do all they want? So basically, actually, that this risk, yes, there will be some technical, organizational, managerial, or management risk. Everything will be there. So because whatever we can think is can be a source of uncertainty. So that's why actually this has been just for a better understanding. This has been put it here like this. That when does it have to be done? So it will have some schedule or uh, related risks. What is the risk management actually? The risk management is to secure project targets and enhance the accuracy of estimates. Because you know that everything when you are doing a planning, you are estimating many things. So what is the chances of those estimates are accurate? So for that, the risk has to be managed properly. And you know that when a project is started, one of the after the kickoff, means the kickoff meeting is the time that is the meeting that formally the project is started. So after 2 or 3 weeks, you will have one value engineering session. Value engineering session means that you will be discussing the complete scope and all this with the technical and all the other stakeholders, and you will you will try to add some value in the projects. So there are a lot of discussions, maybe it can go up to 2 days based on the project size. And then after that, there is one of this risk assessment workshop is one of the first workshops which is conducted in any uh, project. So here actually whatever is uh, the risk or design is discussed and defined, and if there is any discrepancy, those things will be discussed. And generally the participants of any risk workshop will be the experts, subject matter experts from various disciplines, contracts, procurement, project engineering, because those people are having some means good experience, so they can add some value and they can identify if there is any risk which can turn into a threat or which can be utilized as an opportunity at a proper time. So then actually after this workshops, generally we prepare one document. Not generally, it is actually standard. You need to prepare one document which is called a risk register, where you have to define everything: cause, consequence, first identified what is the risk level, then what you can do to mitigate those risks, and after you're doing action to mitigate those risks, what are the residual risks. So whether those risks you can accept or not, or you have to transfer those risks. So yeah, here it is. Role of risk management, risk identification, then risk appraisal. Risk appraisal means that you will do the risk ranking by performing the qualitative and quantitative risk analysis. Qualitative means that there will be expert judgment, tools, techniques, lesson learned, previous historic records. What is if there is any chances on that? So based on that, you rank the risks, whether it is, and this is all based on this probability and occurrence. Here actually I would like to very categorically clarify that unfortunately I'm not able to share many informations which I would like to, because due to our confidentiality and other uh, things, that we cannot share this, and I don't want to say, uh, present those things. I discussed with my manager, but there are a lot of things from IT and with IT things. So I would like to. I was willing to share that risk ranking metrics, but unfortunately I'm not able to do it. Uh, Sorry for that. And then we have a quantitative risk where actually the values are this is a numerical analysis like Monte Carlo and other simulation techniques are used to analyze the risks. Then after this identification and appraisal, that in appraisal you have ranked the risks, that whether it is a high category risk, medium category risk, or a low category risk, then you need to address, prepare a plan to uh, mitigate those risks. So how, and then how to implement those, and after that you will be monitoring those risks, whether after your, because see, that maybe you have addressed one risk, and at that point of time it is reduced, but maybe after 3 or 4 months due to some other interchange means interrelated things, that particular risk can go up or it can lead to one another risk. So you need to monitor those risks properly, and there must be a single point accountable person for every risk. Like for example, if it is related to mechanical equipment, so a mechanical engineer should be responsible for it. If it is related to electrical, then electrical, and overall the project manager will be responsible for the close out of or mitigating the any risk. I think we have already have some idea on this, that why risk management is being done. The objective is to add sustainable value to all the activities of the organization, increases the probability of success, and reduces both the probability of failure and the uncertainty of achieving the organization's overall objective. Uh, Here actually it is that what ISO defines identifies about the principles of risk management. So why we should do it? Actually, because it should create a value for an organization. It is an integral part of the organizational process. It is a part of decision making. Here we have written that it is to be tailorable. Tailorable means that, hey, as we in the beginning we discussed that this project process or stages or cycle will remain same for everything, for every project we go into or any field we go into. So, but that needs to be tailored to suit the requirement. Like if I am dealing a steel industry project, so those things to be tailor made to that things, to that industry. Yeah, here one more thing is there which I need to would like to highlight that it must be dynamic, iterative, and responsive to changes. So you cannot have that once you have prepared a risk management plan and then you will relax that okay things will go smooth as planned. So it can happen that maybe you have planned something, but since in a EPC or any project it is a live, so there could be some changes, uh, and so to address those changes, you need to have a dynamic and iterative system. Means the project execution during the project execution project execution. These are actually the same thing, like from WBS and interviews, identify risks. This is as per ISO actually they have defined. This I have got from one of my friend here. Identify the root cause for each risk. Then you have to prepare the contingency plan for the high risk, as we told that once you that whether it is a high category risk, it is a medium, low. So the risk which is under the high category risk, yeah, that you need to you need to close it. You cannot proceed to a next stage without addressing or mitigating those risks. This actually we have already discussed, saw that the two types of risk analysis. Yeah, this I was telling that risk register, what is the outcome of all your exercise, so that it will help to properly manage the risk. And once you means properly manage the risk, which are the risks are threats and opportunities, then the probab means the chances of success of projects are more, because you know that across the world around 70% of the projects are cost overrun, and around 40% projects are schedule overrun. And one thing we need to understand here that when we talk about risk, it is not that because it covers each and every aspect of a project. It will be related to procurement, to construction, to commissioning, to your specification, means that scope. So everything needs to be properly broke down and addressed, so that nothing hidden is there which can trigger any unfavorable events, which you can say uncertainty, and hamper the progress of a project. Uh, I think I am coming to an end of my presentation, but we can discuss something. As we can see that risks are inherent to any project. Risks, as we discussed earlier, can be in scope, schedule, cost, quality, HSE, environment, social, anything. The endeavor and the target of project management shall be to avoid, exploit, transfer or share, mitigate or accept the risks which are having negative effects on the project. These are actually the strategies of the risk, which are threats actually. First will be to avoid. How you will avoid it? You have to mitigate it. Means address that if there is something which is creating that. So you need to address the root cause. I am on my last slide, but before that, I would like to share some live examples. I mean, my experiences where we can have some more insights that how we can do a proper planning. Uh, I will give you one example that in my previous company we were having one centrifugal pump, order of a centrifugal pump, and it was around 300,000 uh, US dollar order. It was that everything was actually the that in a project execution. First is the when you prepare all the specifications and all that, and you have to go to market for obtaining the service or a product. So you will be preparing a material requisition for inquiry. This is the uh, stage, first step, or many times it is called RFI, requisition for inquiry. That is floated to the approved vendors. Approved vendors means every company has their own list of approved vendors, so that will go to those bidders, and then they will submit the uh, technical and the commercial offers. So technically acceptable offers will go to the next stage, which is the commercial uh, evaluation. So the L1 means that the lowest bidder, technically acceptable, will be given the order. So we were on the phase stage when this technical was clarified, closed. So we are having two bidders which were acceptable. So you have to order on the two only. Out of the two, which is after negotiation and all that, you reach to the lowest bidder. So actually, what happened that when it came to me, then I told that we were going through that TBT, which is called this technical bid tabulation. So then actually we found that this was actually multi-stage pumps, 12 stage between bearing pumps, and you know that these pumps will have uh, big foundations. Between bearing means there will be two bearings, both sides, shaft will be in between, then there will be mechanical seal. So it is a big order actually. And you will having all this, the life cycle cost will be more. So we got that let us try to some other. So I called some vendors which are having more design, good design, and we did it. We got approval from Saudi Aramco also, because you know that already once the TBT is approved, you cannot go back. So it was means beneficial for both of us. The client was happy that his life cycle cost is reduced, and as a contractor, we are happy that we saved around 150,000 US dollar. So what I want to highlight here is that during the specification, when we were preparing the specification, when we were evaluating the vendor offers, when we were doing the technical bid tabulations, we should have understood that no, this is not the thing which is a good solution to anyone, company and the end user. So there was some we can say that some fault during the planning phase. Uh, then one another example is that in the execution, I can say that once we faced a problem where one of the one of the impellers was found to be having some surface defect. So when unfortunately I was there, so when we discussed that, we been told by the vendor that in our inspection test plan, that particular testing is not mentioned. That after machining also we need to check. So that was a lesson learned for everyone, that we cannot say that it is some mistake or something in case. But yes, So with that lesson learned, we we learned, and in our next ITPs of our project, that we introduced one more test, that for impellers, high value impellers, we will be having the machined surface inspections also. See, these things actually, why I am telling to you that, because I understand that all of you means are going to means past and going to enter into the uh, professional field. So we need to understand that when we are entering into the professional field, it is it is always advisable, or it is better to give proper attention to the details. So we need to give proper attention to the details. We need to understand the things and learn how much we can, because that is only going to help. Okay, I am done actually. I have never spoke after a long time. I have spoken so much.
Okay. Thank you, sir. So I thank Sri Alok Kumar for presenting such an informative talk and
Yes, yes,
sharing his
yes,
experience with the audience. The session is now open for discussion. The audience
yes.
can now ask questions.
I would like the students, particularly, to interact in the area of production project management. So definitely, our students who are here should interact with the expert.
No, I am not an expert. But yes, whatever can be asked, feel free to ask me, and based on my experience, I will definitely love to give my opinion or my
Okay,
ideas in the.
let me break the ice by asking you, what advice do you have for our students who want to pursue their career ahead in these times? So, how they should go about it? What is your advice to them?
So can you reframe the question?
The question is that basically, you being a alumni of this institute, and you have done some advanced training, as I see from in project management from USA. So, what would be your advice to our students? What advanced training they can perform, they can undertake, so that they can jumpstart their career?
Yes, sir. So this actually, this some trainings actually, I am not aware of the trainings, but this actually project related trainings definitely you can do after maybe 3 years or 4 years of a some um, means technical experience, or some sort of experience you have either in manufacturing or production. Then you can means enter into a project management field, which will help definitely to understand and execute. Regarding means the freshers, I can say that to be very honest, I'm not of that. What I can say, you need to learn whatever you are learning. To be very honestly, and try to means enter into means any field, either it is manufacturing, service, or anything. You get a break, and then you explore there. Definitely, after maybe 6 months or 7 months, you will have some inner things that okay, this field is for me to go into. So my only advice will be that after your graduation or this, you try to grab something, and don't go into that okay, this industry or this industry. No, for whatever you get it, and then try to excel on it. Because in 6 months or 7 months, you will understand that okay, whether it is your field or not, and then you can pursue your area of interest.
Okay, that's a great advice. Thank you, thank you. And one more request, as the head of the department, I have you being an alumni of this department. We would like to request you to help our students for getting internship. So, is it possible you can help? Actually, we are reaching out to different alumni of the institute and the department as such for internship, where actually now we are having a 6 months and 2 months mandatory internship where the student has to visit to various either institutes or organizations or companies, and they have to work on some live projects. So, can you help us in this regard?
Sir, to be very honest, that means ADNOC is not going to give any on-job training because this is a government organization and they will give only to the local
Okay.
citizens.
So,
Number
so
one.
if you can give us any leads
Yes,
of your
yes, yeah,
company.
yes. So in private, yeah, in other companies, when I was in Technic, I have seen people coming here and doing 2 months, 3 months training. But those people are also means maybe their parents were here because here coming here and doing the trainings is difficult, but because there are expenses and other things. But what I can do, I can check with the companies in India like Technip India, McDermott India, Worley India, whether they are giving it or not, because in the fresher it will be good that our friends get some exposure in India itself. So that I can
Yeah,
definitely do,
yeah,
and
yeah,
that I
yeah.
will
That
definitely.
would be a great help. If you can give
Yes,
us some lead in that regard,
yes, yes, yes,
we would
sure, sir,
like to
sure.
definitely pursue those.
Sure, sir. Actually, last time Vinay sir has done means asked me. I tried
Hello.
somewhere. I don't know whether it has.
Okay, fine. Thank you, sir. So our students, if you have any queries or any questions,
Sir, yes, I want to ask a
No,
question.
students will be actually taking rest. Yes.
uh, yeah, they are very eager to interact with you. Shivam, yeah, Shivam, please go ahead.
Sir, my question is that, sir, when we plan for contingency in a project, sir, we do not have the enough resources as we have in the starting of the project, sir. What should be our top priority while we prepare for contingency plan, sir? In that scenario, sir.
See, contingency. Actually, when we talk about contingency plan, uh, contingency are always. I can say that at different levels, basically. Some part of the contingency will be at the program managers level, then it will be on the some will be on the sponsors level, then on the project program manager level, then on the project managers level. So these are the contingency, means layer of contingency, and always the target is that the contingency which is available with the project manager should be uh, should be utilized properly to mitigate any of the uh, problems the project is facing. See, to utilize the contingency means I think we are talking about cost, the budget contingency, because contingency can also be many types, that man hours, then the budgets. If it is actually say here actually your management of change comes into picture, that whatever is is coming as a change, that will be means going to hamper your bottom line, your project bottom line, or baseline, we can say baseline. So the focus of when you are planning for a contingency management is that there should be no variation from the defined scope, zero variation. No management of change should come to a project manager. Yes, it is idealistic. In reality, there should be something which will be coming, but the target should be that variation will be a minimum or nil. Variation, when I say variation, means that variation from your defined scope, defined schedule, and your specification. Maybe I was able to explain you or not.
Yes, sir. Surely, sir. Thank you very
Okay.
much, sir.
Okay. Thank you.
Is there any question from anybody else? So I hope there are no more questions.
Okay.
So I, on behalf of Department of Production and Industrial Engineering, BIT Mesra, um, and on my own behalf, once again, thanks Sri Alok Kumar for accepting our invitation and delivering such a wonderful talk. Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Thank you to all for giving me
Uh,
time and hearing me patiently.
Thank you from my side, and I thank all the students and all those who are present in this webinar. It has been really wonderful listening to you, sir. And in the future also, we'd expect your cooperations
Yes, sir, sure.
to
Because
extend it
actually,
to this department.
yeah, sure, sure.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you.
So today's session has come to an end. We will see you at our next event, which will have a different theme and speaker. So till then, goodbye.
Thank you. Bye.